So it's safe to say the first 3 fragrances on this list aren't worn by many men, despite the fact that any one of these could be considered a modern masterpiece, and they come from 3 of the most respected houses in all of men's perfumery. So what are the fragrances I'm talking about? Well, the first cool weather masterpiece I want to recommend to you this fall is Creed's Absolute Aventus. Released in 2023, don't confuse this with the original Creed Aventus or Aventus Cologne. The OG in the lighter summer variant, those are solid fragrances in of themselves. But gents, when the cooler weather hits, you can't go wrong with this darker flanker of the original Aventus. Now, when you look at the note breakout, at the top, you're going to see grapefruit, bergamot, pink pepper, black currant, pineapple, nutmeg, and cloves. Overall, bright, clean, crisp, but don't let that fool you. Immediately, it gets into the middle where we have the ginger, citron, cinnamon, cardamom, and rose. And it's those notes that give this fragrance depth, and immediately it gets darker, heavier, richer than the original, and that makes sense when you look at the base. We've got patchouli, vetiver, oak moss, ambroxan, sandalwood, musk, tonka, and evernote. If you like the original Creed Aventus, but you wanted something darker, richer, heavier, spicier, while still retaining the original DNA of the OG, well then get your hands on a sample or an entire bottle of the Aventus Absolute. All that being said, it is expensive, and a lot of people are going to complain it doesn't have much longevity. So if you want something that is relatively less expensive, but is going to go nuclear, then check out Dior's Sauvage Elixir. Now, Dior launched Sauvage Elixir back in 2021, and it seems like since then, every other brand has tried to copy the Elixir formula. And there's a reason they've tried to do that. This fragrance is beautifully blended. It comes off as strong, masculine, dark, and potent with amazing projection. Seriously, with just a few sprays, you could choke out a room. Now, the note breakout is very different from the other fragrances in the Sauvage line. At the top, we've got nutmeg, cinnamon, cardamom, and grapefruit. In the middle, lavender. And at the base, licorice, sandalwood, amber, patchouli, and Haitian vetiver. Overall, this is a spicy, woody, aromatic lavender that's still incredibly unique, crowd-pleasing, and a compliment getter. In fact, the only hesitation I ever have recommending this fragrance is that it just is a really powerful fragrance, hence it's better for cooler weather, and one that you don't want to overspray because of how powerful it is. Now, this next fragrance is perhaps the biggest release in the last year. We have Chanel's Bleu de Chanel Exclusive. And straight up, gents, one of the reasons this fragrance isn't going to be one you're going to smell much out there is because you have to go into Chanel boutiques to actually purchase it. And like the previous 2 fragrances on this list, it's relatively expensive for what you get. Which, by the way, if you're wondering, am I going to talk about any affordable fall fragrances that I would highly recommend that a lot of guys aren't wearing? Yes, stick around. I will cover some of those later in the video. Now, the question that everyone has about this fragrance, is it worth it? So if you don't own any of the other Bleu de Chanels and you go into the boutique, you smell this, you like it, grab it. It is a great pick, especially for the cooler weather. It is darker, richer, heavier, definitely than the EDT. The EDP, I would say that this one even projects a bit more. The Parfum, this one definitely projects more. However, if you've already got the Parfum, if you've got the EDP, if you've got the EDT, which I have in my collection, this one does feel a bit redundant. They really didn't change it too much, which is nice. We just simply have what we expect. Something that is more exclusive, something that just feels richer, deeper, stronger. Now, the notes on this fragrance are relatively simple. We've got amber, woods, labdanum, and sandalwood. And when you smell this fragrance, if you know the Bleu de Chanel line, you're going to find that this thing is very familiar. The main accords are woods and amber with just a touch of powder and musk. And that's why I'm recommending this fragrance, because if you want something that you can dress up, something that is going to be in style, I mean, that's what I love about Chanel, is they put out fragrances that are just well blended. Every single one of them is a solid pick. And the whole Bleu de Chanel line, in case you didn't know, this is more of a formal dressing up. If you're wearing a really nice sweater, maybe with a sports jacket, yeah, this is the type of fragrance you would want to wear. Now, at this point, some of you guys may be saying, Antonio, I have seen all 3 of those fragrances. Give me something new. Give me something I haven't seen. All right, let's play on those words. Unseen by the House of Dastan. Have you seen this one? Seriously, it's a great fall pick. If you want something that's understated, something that's elegant, something that wears close, that when people get in, they give you a hug, they are going to smell it and it just feels like home. This fragrance is absolutely beautiful. Now, the main accords here at the top, it's got a bit of fruit and then it gets into the woods, a bit of sweetness, some musk, amber. I find this fragrance is really clean. It's intimate. The other day, I was with my wife and she got up close and she's like, I really like the way you smell. It makes sense when you look at the note breakout. You've got that linen, cinnamon, got that fig nectar, the cashmere wood, tonka, sandalwood, of course the classic patchouli, vanilla, cedar and musk, moss and ambergris. But then they've got this milk note. I can't say that I picked that up, but I see why they would put that in there, maybe with the smoothness of how all that's combined. Overall, really smooth, clean, non-obtrusive scent. If you're looking for something you can wear to the office or when you travel, this is a fragrance that's going to fill that niche. And speaking of niche fragrances, let's talk about M. Mikelef's Desire Toxic Intense, an aromatic, warm, spicy green fragrance with a bit of citrus, fruit, and spice. This is a unique, spicy, aromatic that's going to probably be different from anything in your collection. It reminded me of the first time I smelled a Bleu fragrance. When you understand there's a new category, this one right here, more in the aromatic line. It's got a mix of sweetness with earthy notes. Still, it's fresh enough that you can wear it as a 4-season fragrance. And I think the note breakout does a good job of explaining it. Right there at the top, we've got the bergamot, cardamom, saffron, and lemon. In the middle, black currant, mint, tonka bean, and cinnamon. And at the base, patchouli, musk, moss, and cannabis. Now, personally, I'm not a huge cannabis note fan. I don't even pick it up unless I'm really looking for it, so I wouldn't worry about that. But definitely a unique fragrance. If you're looking for something that could be a signature scent that you can wear in 4 seasons, this one could be it. And by the way, gents, the fragrances I'm talking about in today's video, especially those last 2 niche ones, if you want to grab them, you can go over to our sponsor, Max Aroma. They got some of the most interesting, unique, niche fragrances out there. And what I love about Max Aroma is they set it up so if you just want to get a sample, you want a 10 ml sample, they will send you that sample so you can try it before you commit to a full bottle. And they've got great shipping, awesome customer service, and they get things out to you fast. On top of that, if you look around, they got some of the best prices on some of your favorite fragrances. Go over to their websites, look for the deal of the day. If you're part of our communities, if you're checking out us on YouTube, you'll see we put up a lot of deals of the day over at Max Aroma. But seriously, guys, the fragrance I'm wearing today is Ojar's Wood Whisper. This is a wood powdery, musky, amber fragrance that's got a touch of vanilla and fruit, and I have to say it's one of the smoothest wood vanilla fragrances you're ever going to get your nose on. Everybody that smells this fragrance falls in love with it. It's a very dry wood with a bit of sweetness to it. It is masculine. It also has pretty good staying power. And the projection is solid. It's a foot, but it doesn't over project. It's not going to choke out the room. And of course, you can grab it over at Max Aroma along with Sangria Oak. I talked about this one in an earlier video. Maybe this one's more of a summer, spring. You could still wear it in the fall though. But unique fragrances like this one from Precious Liquid, Sangria Oak, you're not going to find. This is party. This is booziness in a bottle with the oak, with the woods, booze and oak. I love that combination. So to grab yourself a bottle, seriously, with the best deal you're going to find out there, use that link in the description of today's video. Go over to Max Aroma, check them out. And yes, it's an affiliate link. When you use it, make a little bit of money. I appreciate you supporting this channel. Now, speaking of booze in a bottle, no house perhaps does it better than the House of Killian. And apple brandy is one of my favorites. They came out recently with apple brandy on the rocks, and that one's going to be more widely available. I do like that one. It's brighter. It's a little bit lighter than the one with the gold lid right here, but this one right here, limited edition, hard to find. It was initially released only in their New York boutique. I had to pay an arm and a leg to get this one, but if you can get your nose on apple brandy on the rocks, highly recommended. Great fragrance, and as the name implies, it is meant to smell just like apple brandy on the rocks. If you ever had that drink, as a guy that doesn't drink anymore, I smell that and it just makes me start to salivate. Highly recommended. Just a beautiful fragrance for the fall. Now, speaking of apples, let's get over to the house of Parfums de Marly and let's talk about Layton. Layton is probably their best-selling fragrance, and for good reason. This one is, if you're going to get into this house of deep, rich fragrances, this is probably the one to start with. It's spicy, woody, vanilla, got a bit of an aromatic touch to it. And as I indicated, it's got an apple note. Right there at the top, we got apple, lavender, bergamot, mandarin orange. In the middle, geranium, violet, jasmine. At the base, vanilla, cardamom, sandalwood, pepper, guaiac wood, and patchouli. This is a well-crafted, crowd-pleasing fragrance that has great longevity. And what I like is this brand has really matured. It is easier to find these fragrances, so you can actually get your nose on these. And you can smell why so many people love it. Really, it's going to be that fruit vanilla symphony that they were able to mend together, and just gives this such a crowd-pleasing, just friendly. This one is a compliment monster. So yeah, try it if you haven't. Now, the next fragrance on this list comes from one of my personal favorite fragrance houses out there, the House of Tom Ford. I love the variety. I love all the different options. So many of their unisex fragrances I think men can easily pull off. But these two fragrances, Noir Extreme, we've got the Parfum, and we've got the original. Straight up, both of them are great, but I would skip the Parfum. I would go with the original. I just like the sweetness. I think it's sexier. It's got a bit of a gourmand to it. Still, it's not overbearing. It's not cloying. It's got solid longevity. It's rich. It's sexy. This one is one of the perfect fall fragrances in my collection. In case you're wondering, the note break out here at the top, we got cardamom, nutmeg, saffron, mandarin orange, and neroli in the middle, kulfi, rose, mastic, jasmine, orange blossom, and at the base, vanilla, amber, woody, and sandalwood. In case you don't know, if you're wondering what that kulfi note is, that is an Indian dessert. Again, it goes with the richness, the sweetness. It's not going to be in the Parfum, and for that reason, that's why I love this one, the original. Now, pretty much up to this point, all the fragrances I've talked about have been a little bit heavier, richer, deeper. But what if you want something lighter in the fall, in the winter? You're out in California, it's still pretty warm. Then check out Gray Vetiver. You can go with the original or the Parfum. I really do like the Parfum for the cooler winter months. And in case you're wondering what the difference is between the original Gray Vetiver and the Parfum is just going to be more about the vetiver. It didn't really have any citrus top like the other one did. This one right here immediately gets right into the vetiver. There's a touch of orange blossom and saffron, but really they're not that noticeable. This one is a straight aromatic. It's all about the vetiver. Now this next pick is a straight up safe pick. If you're looking for a fragrance that is going to be able to do everything, is going to pretty much please everyone, but isn't really going to stand out but would be a great gift, then check out the Y line by Yves Saint Laurent. Pretty much any fragrance in there is going to be solid. The EDP is one of my favorites, but the Elixir, is a damn good fragrance, and it's perfect for the fall and cooler months. Now, when we look at the note breakout of this fragrance, at the top, we see lavender, in the middle, geranium, and at the base, frankincense and oud. Now, I'll be straight up, I don't really smell any of the oud. What I get is a fresh, spicy, aromatic, with that lavender right in there, with just a touch of amber and maybe a little bit of herbs, a little bit of spice there. It's a crowd-pleasing, classic, masculine fragrance that's going to remind you a little bit of a barber shop, and that's why this fragrance is such an easy pick, especially for a guy maybe that's just getting started and wants a fragrance that can become his signature fragrance this fall. Now, what about a fragrance for a more mature man? Something that's going to be in that aromatic line, but it's going to have that nice citrus top cleaner, something classic. Guys, check out Sauvage. So this one is very similar to the original 1966 edition, but this one came out in 2017. This is going to be Dior's Sauvage Parfum. Elegant, charming, modern. This one right here is going to give old school vibes. So again, if you want something, you're a man over the age of 40, 50, 60, and you want to smell great, still you want something that's modern, doesn't smell dated, this is perhaps the perfect fragrance for you. An aromatic, citrus, spicy fragrance with a bit of wood. The most dominant notes here are going to be that vetiver with the lavender, maybe with a bit of the resin in there, and a bright bergamot at the top. Basically, a clean, classic fragrance for a guy that likes to get dressed up, or if you want something you can wear even dressing down. I think this fragrance, as you can tell, I've worn this fragrance quite a bit because it is friggin' amazing. All right, so now let's talk about some of the best deals you're going to find out there. Now, if you are looking for the best deals, I highly recommend you go to a company like Max Aroma and you sign up on their email list. A lot of times you will be notified when they've got some great sales, but I always think some of the best deals are maybe lines of houses that aren't really talked about too much, and so you'll find there are always great deals on them. Scandal over on the Jean Paul Gaultier line. Any of those Scandals, I think, are really good fragrances. I find the later releases are a little bit better blended. The Absolute, this one is really nice. I think it's great. Some people find it's too sweet, it's a bit too synthetic, but it's a Jean Paul Gaultier Scandal. And I know what I'm getting with this fragrance. It's a young, fun fragrance. If you want something that's gourmand, that's sweet, that is a bit cloying, but not over the top, check out the Scandal line. And that takes us to Dolce & Gabbana's The One. The original, the one that came out in 2008, in my opinion, is still one of the best fall fragrances out there. And because this thing has been out for almost 20 years, guess what? There are tons of deals you can find out there. And yes, I know Dolce & Gabbana has come out with many flankers of this fragrance. Still, go back to the original. Yes, it's been reformulated, but they've done a pretty good job of keeping it similar to the original. An absolutely beautiful fall fragrance. It's a sweet, masculine amber. A lot of people have described this as what a man should smell like. And I agree, this fragrance is pretty much a masterpiece. A perfect 10 out of 10. You guys know I rarely ever give that number. This fragrance right here deserves it. That tobacco mixed in, just a solid pick that honestly, if you look around, you can find amazing deals on. So gents, what did I miss? What fragrance would you have added to this list? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, boom, you are going to love this one. Because I promise in this video, I do not cover the same fragrances. I give you more options. So if you want more cooler weather fragrances, boom, I got you covered right here.